What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on One Up Games. Today we are reacting to the super secret reveal of the PlayStation 5 Pro. That's right, the PlayStation 5 Pro is finally going to be revealed during this PS5 technical presentation hosted by Mark Cerny. It's going to be about 10-12 minutes apparently, maybe a little bit less. I think somebody said like 9 minutes or something like that. But yeah, if this isn't the PS5 Pro, this is going to be the worst intro I've ever done on this channel. But yeah, hopefully it's a fun little presentation. It's just going to be, hey, here's a PS5 Pro, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm really keen to find out. Like, what does this thing look like? That's what I want to know. So fingers crossed we get a good look at this thing. It's got the little fins on the side, which actually make it look pretty dope.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro.
Wow.
And how it advances gaming.
They're doing a Pro.
But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
Well, that's the Pro, because it's got the little fins down the side.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds.
That's not out.
And frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds, and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
Such a good opening to that game.
I'm working on it.
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3.
Okay.
First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro.
Again, like...
It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second.
You're showing me games that came out on the PS4.
Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier. This goal of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
That looks good.
And Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
It is.
For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is
really
allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second.
That's probably why they're dropping the My First
also
GT game, right? Because like it's gonna look really good on a PS5
allowing
Pro.
not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by
He's
giving you a
freaking
quick
me
look
out,
at
man.
the number of games running on the new console.
You'll never break a legend. 'Cause they don't know we
Now I think I like the design with the side fins a lot better.
Don't let me hang it.
I mean, seeing all this is great. There's just something different about being able to play it for yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
First Descendant spoilers, no! Imagine this whole presentation is like, this is what Bunny's ultimate skin looks like now. So they didn't talk about the PS5 Pro Deluxe that apparently leaked as well with the disk drive. We only spoke about Interesting. I just pop straight in. Yeah, I mean, if you guys were on the website today, you would have seen my little write-up about this. It's PlayStation's worst kept secret that the PS5 Pro is a thing. I'm really interested because there was a lot of leaks. Like, a lot of the leaks were like, hey, there's a PS5 Pro and there's a PS5 Pro Deluxe, which is a PS5 Pro with a disc drive that is apparently going to be launching in December. What did it say? When did it say this was launching? Did it have a date? November 7. That's the date that the guy in the leaks gave. So yeah, December. No, did he? I think he said November 14th and December 7. So maybe it's December 14th, but that would be weird with Christmas time coming up. So I'm gonna assume, right? That's the US dollar price. What's that in Australian? So 700 USD just in conversion to Australia is at $1,052.62. This thing's gonna be over $1,000 here. I will hope that the leaked state of play that will be presenting us with what, like, a whole bunch of third-party and indie games that will take full advantage of the PlayStation Pro comes out. They didn't even go over the controller, which is apparently, like, the controller's getting an upgrade. They didn't even go over it. This was so weird. I mean, yeah, cool. It was a nice little announcement. Yeah, that's all I can say. PS5 Pro, cool. What could they have done differently? Maybe a handheld? I think that's what everybody's really wanting from the console space right now, is these big console makers to give us handhelds that we can stream our games to or just play natively on the handheld. I think resources would have been a lot better put there. If anything, this is probably what the PlayStation 5 should have been at launch, like a massive upgrade. I guess the PS5 Pro is a big upgrade. I don't think it's going to hit the same as like when the PS4 Pro sort of hit the market. That felt like a substantial upgrade. But also at that point, I felt like we had a lot more first-party games on the PS4. That was sort of like, everyone was like, oh yeah, PS4 riding high. Whereas I feel like we're in a bit of a stale situation with PlayStation right now in terms of first-party and just their overall suite of games coming. We really know nothing, and they want us to pay $1,000 here in Australia for a brand new bloody console. But then use games from the PlayStation 4 and launch of the PS5 to sort of showcase what's going on. I mean, they showed that new Dynasty Warriors game that hasn't even dropped yet. It's like, you can spawn this many people in. Well, that game hasn't come out yet. So, you know, until we have that game in hand, we don't really know how many people are going to spawn in. We don't really know how that feels. I'm sure the media do. I'm sure they've played it. But, yeah. Look, it's cool. I like the design better. I like it a lot more. I like the fins on the side. I think it's a really nice, pretty console. It's very nicely designed. And I look forward to having hands-on with it. You know what I mean? Get my hands on it and actually see if there's a difference, because like I said, there's seeing this and then there's playing it, there's experiencing it, there is giving time to something and realizing, hey, maybe this is the upgrade I'm looking for, hey, maybe I'm happy with what I've got. But be sure to let me know what you guys thought of this down in the comments below. Do you think this is something you're going to upgrade to? Do you think you're going to wait for the PlayStation 6 or hopefully one day a PlayStation handheld? Yeah, be sure to let me know, and head over to the website oneupgames.com. Check it out over there. We have a whole bunch of articles going up every day, a whole bunch of write-ups. Like I did a write-up about PlayStation's worst kept secret. And basically this was probably one of the worst kept secrets ever. But in fairness to PlayStation, when something leaks from PlayStation, it's normally PlayStation doing the leaking. We don't normally get big, like, you know, massive leaks coming from randoms on the internet. It is normally someone close to PlayStation or PlayStation themselves. So yeah, again, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with everything we're doing here at One Up Games. And until next time, may all of your games be good ones, and I will catch you guys in another video. Bye everybody.